I want to address a subject of profound urgency for Welsh democracy, the growing threat posed by Reform UK, not just to Labour but to the constitutional balance of the Senedd itself. This isn't scaremongering, it's a cold reading of political momentum, voter disillusion and institutional fragility. Let me start in Port Talbot, steel country. Labour heartland, a place where generations lived and voted red, and yet today Reform UK leads in polling for the Aberfan Senedd seat. It's not an anomaly. A more in common poll puts Reform on 28% across Wales, ahead of other parties, with Labour languishing at 23%. Disillusion and decline is what we're looking at. The story of Port Talbot mirrors post-industrial towns across Wales, hollowed out high streets, shuttered factories, job losses like the 2,800 cut by Tata Steel. Labour wants the party of the working man is now seen as managerial, abstract and metropolitan. Nigel Farage is promising to reopen coal mines and reignite blast furnaces. Technically absurd, economically incoherent, but politically potent. In the words of Gordon Chambers, a 94-year-old ex-steel worker, at least give them a chance. And, you know, while there are votes in Welsh traditions with younger, more national-minded voters, it's failed to present that's failed to present a populist insurgency. Reform with no clear leadership in Wales is still somehow dominating the anti-Labour vote. And Farage is the most recognisable politician in Wales right now. He's not Welsh. He doesn't have a coherent programme, but he embodies what many perceive as no-nonsense, anti-elite, common-sense politics. And Reform's rise is less about policy and more about protest. It is, in the starkest terms, the electoral weaponisation of alienation. The new proportional representation system, ironically designed to help Labour, now fragments the vote further. A three-way split. Reform, Plaid and Labour could leave Reform as the largest party without even commanding majority support. Labour may not even be able to lead a coalition. And that would be unprecedented since the Senedd's founding in 1999. Public services are at risk. Health, education, housing, transport, all devolved. And Reform's libertarian instincts and budget-slashing promises could be devastating if implemented in a Welsh context. And then there's anti-devolutionism. Reform UK harbours deep suspicions about the very existence of a Welsh assembly. A government led by Farage's party would likely to sabotage devolution from within, mocking Welsh identity, undermining bilingual education, re-centralising power to London. I remember when I was teaching in Wales how I learnt quite a lot of Welsh phrases so that I could begin each lesson in Welsh and end each lesson in Welsh. It was very tough. And that's acknowledging that I have a Welsh father. With its fixation on immigration, on crime and nationalism, Reform's policies are likely to worsen division, stir racial resentment and erode Wales' proud tradition of social solidarity. Welsh voters don't want white papers, they want grit, passion, action. And Labour must reconnect emotionally, not administratively. We need to fix bus services, build housing, provide retraining programmes in former industrial towns. Don't just talk of a green future, build it now. And Farage needs to be confronted with facts, yes, but also with fervour. Call out the lies, but also offer hope. Make it clear that populism is not patriotism and slogans are not solutions. To paraphrase Gus Williams of Chambers, Wales, apathy lets the extremes win. When turnout is 46%, the loudest voices dominate, and the greatest threat to Wales is not Reform UK alone, it's the silence of the majority. We're watching a populist movement rise on the ruins of post-industrial despair, aided by Labour complacency and a Plaid timidity and a Conservative absence. Reform UK threatens not just policies, but the pluralistic fabric of Welsh civic life. If Labour continues to be useless and Reform continues to sound useful, the outcome will be catastrophic, not just for Labour, but for Wales.